I found out that most of my subscribers are below 1500 ELO because of my generosity. I gotta help you destroy and make your opponent cry. So, I study it through like his database and study the best and most used openings for 401 for ELO rating. And I found out that the common move and best move for white is the friedliverattack and has a winning rate advantage of 70%. I'm not gonna help you how friedliverattack works, but how to counter it. So if you want to learn something today and rank up your ELO above 1500, you must watch this now, and if not, you can leave now. So this moves always starts with e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6, bishop to c4, then knight to g5, having an idea to have fork in f2, intended to the friedliverattack, the most common opening below 1400. So I used my mathematical scientifical analysis to counter this. Then the most common response for this is d5, which white hoping for you to move, then after they take, recapture with knight, and white will sacrifice his knight on f7, trying to set up a trap, and they will play queen to f3 check with a fork with your knight. The only way to defend it is e6, and it is a very great advantage for white, so I don't recommend you to move that. But instead of recapturing your knight in f6, you gotta play the rare move knight to d4, because the other common move is knight to a5. And then let's go with another common move, which is d6. With the concept of their mission to attack the f7 file. Then, what do we do now? Just simply takes d6. And now you might thinking that there is still a fork. Is it a blunder? It's a big no. But instead, this is the best move we can do to set a trap. And now there's the possible move we hope the opponent do, which is takes the f7 pawn with the knight, or the bishop, if they'll take with the bishop, which is a better option for white, but still we can set a trap for this. I gotta show you how. King move to e7. And white need to the bishop, because if they don't move their bishop, white just maybe castle. We all gotta do is to move pawn to h6, and one of his pieces undefended. If knight move, bishop take for free. That's why white have to move the bishop back to b3. And when white do that, we just simply take it with our knight, and then he capture back and kick white's knight away with pawn h6. And no other option to move, it's just going back to f3, then we attack it again with e4. And when he just pin it with queen, we just slide it to f7, and his knight is still on threat. And again, there's only two options for white, because it is the only safe square, which is the d5 and g1 square, and it's bad for white. If they goes to h4, their knight is trapped with our next move g4. No safe squares left, so they don't want to lose their knight. They have forced to back to g1, and that's a terrible move, because he can't castle, and look at their pieces, they're all not developed. And we can just have to pressure bishop to g4 attacks the queen. And if they try to block, guess what, we take it, doesn't matter how they recapture, then we can have a brilliant move. Rook to f1, a pin with the king and queen. It's already losing for white. So let's go back with another few moves. Even if they take with the bishop going back to this position after we attack her with the queen. Even if they do this, we're still in a good position. Now, most people are not going to do that. They're gonna take with the knight, and they're gonna go with fork. They do this all the time, setting this up. And this is what they're gonna do it, and this is exactly what we are hoping for. Cause we have the move queen to c6, and a lot of people think on, we're just attacking the bishop, but I'm gonna get a rook, and thinking it's not a big deal. And they're gonna take your rook, but we don't take the bishop because we have a bigger idea here. To do the queen takes g2, which is attacking the rook with the check, and how would they save the rook? There's only one move, which is rook to f1, and now what do we do? Queen to e4 check. And the king cannot move. White has a choice between giving up their queen, which is nobody's gonna do, and it's already losing for white, or blocking with the bishop, but they go here. It's mate in one, knight to f3, smoother checkmate. The bishop can't take because the queen is pining it. Checkmate in just 10 moves. Now, some of you are thinking that what if your opponent is smart and don't fallen for a trap? What do I do? So let's take a look. But let's say you play knight to d4 and they don't play d6. The most common other move is c3, kicking our knight with pawn, and what we're gonna do here is play the move b5, counter-attacking the bishop. So when take our knight, we take their bishop. It is a common trade. And then most player notice that they have bad position pawn in the center, so they take the pawn to have a strong pawn in the center. And now we are going to take d5 with our queen. Yes, our knight is hanging, but this is what happened when they take. We just simply take their knight. It's a trade. And you might think they're going to take here, but watch what happens. We take back and it might. Look, our position is kind of open, like we're missing some pawns, but it's okay, actually. White is in trouble because we have a lot of threats. We have a threat here and they're not developed, and we are really ready to attack. And then most players will castle to defend this and simply play bishop to b7. And we're just threatening checkmate here. And it's not an easy checkmate to deal with. A lot of possible moves white can go wrong and it's losing for them. Like if they play g3. They're totally weakened these diagonal. And we simply castle and take a look of how many squares we're controlling. It's almost all of the squares. And white piece is still not developed. You got an idea is bringing this queen here to go for a checkmate. You can push this pawn up to and having an trade. And open up the rook for a checkmate, and you can also just bring rook in the center. There's so many options, and if they play f3 trying to block the diagonal for bishop, then we come out our bishop to d4 check forces to move to h1, rook to g8 threatening checkmate on g2. He's trying to counter a check and defending g2, but we just simply move our king to d7 and rook to e8. A lot of good moves and checkmate threats for you. So this is a really the best counter to play as black if opponent using friedliverattack. So, I know you learn a lot in this video. You must owe me a sub for that. Just click this circle here, thanks.